Hi, I am René Meijer, a psychologist from the Netherlands, and I am embarrassed and ashamed about these people from my country upsetting the world with blaming Islam. And I'm equally, I must also say, equally disturbed about threats from the side of some factions of Islam against us, and thus also against me. So I want to take responsibility and answer to this problem. Let me tell you something about the conflict between these two religions from a scientific, behavioral point of view. Religions are about God, and both Islam and Christianity say there is one God. So let's agree with them on that point. If there's one God and these religions are in conflict, then there is evidently a conflict of authority in speaking about this one God. With the two fighting, evidently that authority is missing, which says, I am the one God and you now all shut up and listen. So this God must speak up somehow to solve the conflict. So how do we do this? God speaks through his representatives, isn't it? So let me, as a behavioral scientist, now represent this one God for you in quoting from his leaders, myself, and tell these two fighting parties something about behaving in peace. So consider me, for the time being, a Muslim as well as a Christian, and we'll see. I say, where two are fighting, two are guilty, because living for the one God there is peace with obedience. Yes, that is the belief. Okay, let's keep that in mind. The two are evidently not in peace with all the threats and the actual war fronts they make in Iraq and Afghanistan. So Christians want to conquer the world with democracy, and Islam wants to achieve that by the jihad. That is their belief. Spread the message, and he who opposes it is the sinner, or the enemy, or a possible terrorist, or else an oppressor. That is clear. But why are those two missions in conflict? They can coexist and cooperate in their missions, isn't it? So it's not that I believe that any religion or political party will ever win and rule the rest of for the rest of eternity, but okay, why not cooperate? Or are they maybe, with that mission statement of their belief, in reality disobedient to their own original leaders and scriptures? God wouldn't fight God with his own missions, would he? So the two religions must be doing something wrong. Both must be disobedient to the one God that brings peace to the world by obedience, isn't it? That being so, we can say the pot is blaming the kettle. The two are accusing each other of their own disobedience. So now that is clear. So what is the error of disobedience they have in common? Or what is what science calls the constant error? Psychology says that if you cannot find your own error, you blame someone else for it. That is called projection. We can see that happening all the time, blaming your dog and your wife with our own ignorance. And we don't want to see this escalate, because people who are the victim of that will not accept it. And certainly we don't want to see this internationally, which happens to be the case, maybe, with what we have now. between Holland and some politicians from Holland and the rest of the world in Islamic terms. So let's agree about this and therefore discuss this. That this is the problem. We cannot find our own error. Next to that, furthermore, says behavioral science that we are conditioned beings, and that when we have a conflict of authority, that this, with respect to the notion of our conditioning, refers to the very authority of this conditioning. Conditioning happens being systematically with time. So what matters then is the question, who rules the time? Who is the boss? Who sets the agenda? Who fills the calendar? Most political meetings, for instance, deal with this problem. Where to meet, when to meet, and where to meet. When to do it again, isn't it? But is the time system of ours the obedience to our one God in this case? Well, I don't think so. Apparently, both Islam and Christianity are missing the point of oneness here. Apparently, we suffer from some type of original sin. And that sounds familiar, isn't it? So, we can safely say that the authority of the time system is in conflict with these religions. That's a sure thing. So, let's take the argument one step further. The two religions, not aware of the constant error of a failing time system, are projecting. They blame each other. True awareness of guilt would render this impossible. Thus is, following this argument, the unconscious state of both the religions proven. Religiously being conscious, there wouldn't be such a lack of penance, with both sides blaming the other. Would behavioral science then make a better mind with this maybe? Well, we can give it a try. Constant error in science means that whatever you try, you always get wrong results because of an underlying mistake, an underlying error has not been detected. Christianity finding fault with Islam and Islam finding fault with Christianity is such a case. Whatever they try, the conflict continues. The common error is not found, and we now know that they are, from this reasoning, we now know that they are projecting their own ignorance in disobedience to their one God. So, that seems to be the case, okay? Then, let's go to the next point.